Welcome to Game Misconduct. I'm CT here with Dory.
Hello.
Don't forget to follow on social media. Search for Game Ms with a Z Conduct. All right, let's talk. It happened, and it happened while they were on a road trip. But one of my really
Yeah.
good friends got to see it happen live, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos, Mr. 500. Dory.
I was, I kind of, I don't want to be goofy about it, but, and I know we'll get into what happened on that, road trip to that part of the globe. And I kind of felt like looking at the outcome of that, like, oh, come on, he could have done it. He could, what, it didn't affect anything, right? He could have done it at home in front of the home crowd. That's how
Yeah.
I feel. But I mean, he's not, listen, the Steve Stamkos and those guys, they don't care
No.
about those kind of stats at all. They just want to, win games. The Tom Brady's, all of them, they don't care. But I do. And I
Well, maybe they'll be doing I'm sure they'll
Oh, I'm
commemorate
sure.
it at the game on Tuesday night. Um,
Yeah,
the first home game
guaranteed.
back after the long road trip. So, yeah, so it was kind of special, and they were all taking photos in the locker room about it. And
I get the feeling that the teammates care more about these milestones than the actual player. We've
oh
seen
yeah,
it we've seen it on this team specifically for quite a number of years. When one gets something, it's not that player that's super excited, breaking out. I'm sure they kind of care after the fact, but they're in game mode. But it's the teammates and how excited and happy they get for them. That is just one of the things that you love about this sport in particular, and this team is they're just so supportive of each other. And even Corey Perry, even was it last year? He did something, right? He did something last year, and he had only been on this team like a handful of months at the time, but he hit a milestone, and it was like the Lightning players just lost it, and I was like,
yeah.
God, I love that.
And leave it up to Steven Stamkos to not just be Mr. 500, but he did it in a magnificent fashion, getting a hat trick that night too. So, that's just Steven Stamkos for you.
Yeah. So I mean, we won't be celebrating. I'm sure they'll celebrate 500, but I think they can keep going a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Um, all right, let's look at the week that was. And um they started off their road trip, and I just had my schedule go, it just disappeared on my computer. They started out the road trip on Saturday the 14th in St. Louis. They get a win 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Go Monday to Seattle, 4-1 win over Seattle. Then Wednesday night in Vancouver, a win against the Canucks, who now have a new head coach, Rick Tocchet, formerly of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
So that's the third road win in a row for that team, and then it trailed off a bit.
Shut off a bit.
The second night, and I even said this, I was concerned about it because it was the second of a back-to-back.
Yep.
And all the emotion and excitement over Steven Stamkos getting his 500th. They dropped the game to Edmonton 5-3, a day off, and then it was ugly in Calgary on Saturday night, losing 6
Yeah.
to 3.
I think the Edmonton game wasn't very shocking. You did call it, especially with the McDavid, hockey
Connor
Jesus and
McJesus.
everything. Yeah. So, and it's tough, and it's been a tough place to play as of late. So, okay. And just the whole circumstances surrounding that game. But man, oh man, I was super irritated Saturday. I feel like I don't think, I think Calgary's a good team. I don't think um,
I'll look up the standings.
they're like they have 22 wins and something like that. Okay,
They're in the
they're
middle of
not
the pack
awful.
in the
Yeah,
Pacific Division.
they're decent. They're a decent hockey team. I just feel like it was just like really. I felt like, to me, that was one of those wins they should have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you just move on, right? And we know that this team and their head coach cannot stand back-to-back losses.
No.
It eats at Coach Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, they were turning around. And it's not awful. Listen, they have 29 wins as of, pretty good.
Yeah.
But you just hate to see things like that because it just felt like a bleh of a game, a
Yeah.
bleh of a game.
Yeah. The good news is of a 5-game road trip, they took the over. They won 3 out of those 5. So I will take that all day.
Of course.
And as they try to break that back-to-back losing streak back at home, Tuesday night versus Minnesota, 7 p.m., and then versus Boston on Thursday, rounding out the weekend with a Gasparilla evening game, 7 p.m. versus the LA Kings.
Yeah.
So they've got some work to do. And then I don't know, February is a little wonky for me, but we'll get into that in February. But yeah. So look, they're third in the Atlantic Division. In the conference, the Lightning are 5th.
Mhm.
So, but it'll be interesting. Thursday night will be a marquee game because Boston is first in the Eastern Conference, with Tampa Bay at 5th right now. They're just Boston's scary good.
They're just rolling over people. They're
Yeah,
steamrolling everyone.
yeah. Surprisingly, in the Western Division, Dallas is ahead. It's Dallas,
Yeah.
Winnipeg, Vegas, Seattle, and then Los Angeles at 5th. So
Hmm.
5 and 5 will be meeting on Saturday night, which is interesting. Minnesota's in 7th in the Western Division. So, nice little kind of measurement here in the
Yeah.
next week of where the Lightning are when it comes to other divisions or other conference and their own conference. So, we shall see how that goes.
Yeah. And for sure, the Thursday matchup is a big one.
Yes,
Um,
it is a big one.
uh, they're a scary team. I dislike them very much, as most people know that listen to this show. Not a
Yes.
fan. Don't like them. Don't like them. So yeah, that one I'm very interested to see how the Lightning play against Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken, they actually fare well against Minnesota at home. It's just in Minnesota
Yeah.
that they struggle. It's weird. So, we'll see what happens. And then the Kings, yeah, the Kings are kind of making a little bit of a
Little
rebound
splash.
as a franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, for a while they were really darn good. So, um, we'll just have to see. But I do think that this next week or so is very, because I think the Panthers come up again.
Yes, they do. It's like
Yeah.
the first of a back to back. So yeah. So February 6th. This is crazy to me. Well, it's not crazy. So it's a little less crazy. So February 6th, they play away in Florida in Sunrise, and then they play at home the next evening versus San Jose on Tuesday the 7th. And then the defending Stanley Cup champions return to Amalie Arena on Thursday, February 9th. And then they're on the road for 4 games, then 2 games at home, 2 games on the road. And then rounding out the month of February, the 28 days, they are back at home versus Florida. So it's a little bit of a wonky schedule.
Yeah.
But where is when is the All-Star break is coming up the first week of February too,
Yeah.
which I believe the first. So those All-Stars, they may just stay in Sunrise because they go to Sunrise for like the first game back of
Yeah.
from the All-Star break in Florida. So
Yeah. And I think they're still taking, votes or whatever. So,
I think no, the votes ended. The votes
oh,
ended.
did they? Okay.
Yes, and oh goodness, I saw it last week. Who was the other player voted in? I believe it was it Vasilevsky?
Vas
Was it Vasilevsky?
I think it was Vasilevsky. I honestly thought it was still open because it was just a little blip I got, and I'm not one of those big all-star Pro Bowl, any of those type people. I don't really see the point in it. So it's kind of like I vote, of course, but I don't really, follow up too much on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Kucherov was like named,
Yes.
which it's hard to argue him ever not being named to one of those things. But there's a bunch of good players on this team. Braden Point's having a tremendous year, as I think we all expected, but we love seeing it. And Bassey's Bassey, right? Hedman's Hedman. I mean, some of these guys are just, you feel like they could be on every All-Star team.
Yeah. I know we don't really pay much attention
I don't. I
to.
mean, I know you don't either. Just because it's just, first of all, they don't do the drunk draft anymore.
I
And
know.
they lost me when they did away with that. So everyone know, and people that listen to this show for like more than this season probably know I'm a big fan of that. I thought it was hilarious. And then after that, I was like, boy, you lost me.
I
You
know you
lost me.
love the drunk
I
draft.
thought it was so fun.
But yeah, I'm sorry. They did pin a tweet on the NHL Twitter with the All-Star rosters being set. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. I'm looking. Okay, so yeah. So Andre Vasilevsky was selected for the Atlantic Division,
That's fine.
along with Austin Matthews and David Pastrnak. So yeah, they pinned that tweet on the 19th. So congratulations. So we have the two of the Russians going to the All-Star game from the Lightning. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and I like the jerseys. I don't know about you, but I saw the All-Star jerseys and I'm like, I kind of dig these.
Okay. What do you think about the Storm?
The Storm, like the Lightning
This,
third jerseys.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not really a fan.
I don't think we talked about it. I don't.
Oh, no, we
I can't
talked about it.
recall.
No, I remember we talked about it. Not really a
And I
fan.
think I said I didn't like them.
Yeah.
And I think you said, "Oh, you know what we didn't." You said they may grow on you.
Yeah. They have not grown on me yet.
Yeah, kind of. I just think they're. What's the word? Goofy,
It's a lot. It's a lot going
corny.
on. There's just a lot going on. So,
No,
but I know
not
some
a
people
fan.
really love them. So,
Yeah, and
awesome.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. So
And I do like that they continuously think out of the box, outside the box for things.
they sure
I do
do.
appreciate that. They are not a boring franchise.
No, they are not. So, all right. So just a little bit of game misconduct business. We're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of weeks because I am moving. Big move. Moving to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So, we are going to take some time so I can get settled. But we will be back with more game misconduct in a couple of weeks, probably maybe a week or two after the All-Star break. But
Yeah.
we'll see what we can do as soon as we
We are
can.
coming
So
back though.
we are coming back. So go back and listen to some episodes that you may have missed or re-listen to some of your favorites. But we appreciate your patience while big life change happens, and we will be back with more game misconduct. And don't worry, I'm not going to abandon the Lightning and become a Flyers fan, although I am one of those people that if you live in a city, you have to cheer for their teams.
You know what though? You love gritty.
Oh my God, I love, like, I feel like
So
he's a fellow Ginger.
so
So
you
he's
can
kind of,
just root for gritty. Just
yeah,
say you root for gritty.
I root for Gritty. But so yeah, so just don't freak out on that. Everybody's been asking me that. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to hit that follow button and leave us a 5-star rating and a review. And we will catch you in a couple weeks on Game Misconduct.